thing, we're going to just review the proposed voting procedures for the 2019 Wheatland County Organizational Meeting. So should there be more than one nomination for a position, a secret ballot would be taken with this candidate receiving the majority of the votes being declared successful for the position, the majority being 4 or more votes. In the cases where there's a clear majority, is not successful in the first vote, then the voting would continue on the first and second choice only, and the third and subsequent parties would be eliminated. This process would continue until a clear majority is successful. So that being said, could I have nominations for the position of Reeve for the ensuing year?
I nominate Amber Link.
I'll accept the nomination.
Okay, are there any other nominations for Reeve? Okay, so there's no objections to that, so we will declare Amber Reeve the Reeve for the ensuing year.
And I'll now take over chairing the meeting. I'll call for nominations for Deputy Reeve.
I think before we carry on, don't you do the swearing in thing first?
Yes. Do I have to?
I think you just have to read that off into the microphone.
Okay. I, Amber Link, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the office of Reeve, so help me God. Sworn, and then I think this bottom part is yours.
Thank you.
I'll now call for nominations for Deputy Reeve.
I'll nominate Scott Clausen, if you'll stand.
I'll allow your name to stand.
Yes. Yes, I will.
Any other nominations for Deputy Reeve? A third and final call for nominations for Deputy Reeve. We'll declare Scott Clausen Deputy Reeve for the next year. Brian has your oath of office. Just the top paragraph there.
I, Scott Clausen, swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute, according to the law, the office of Deputy Reeve, so help me God.
We do have an agenda before us for the rest of the organizational meeting. Does anybody have any additions or changes? If not, a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Councillor Wilson has moved approval of the agenda. All in favor? Motion is carried. We've had a code of conduct statement circulated swearing to uphold the councillor code of conduct bylaw that's in place. If everybody could review the statement, does anybody want any time to review the bylaw? Or does anybody have any suggested changes or updates to the councillor code of conduct bylaw? We did just review it, I believe, in spring of 2018, I believe. Brian, do you know, do we need a motion to approve that, or just if there's no changes, just leave it and sign the code of conducts to?
There is no motion required. However, we did provide sign up or a sheet for council just to sign saying that they did review it, so.
So if everybody can sign your councillor code of conduct and submit those to the CAO, please.
You done if you want to pass.
We also have a legislative policies review. You betcha. Thank you. So under 1.6 in our package, we have information about remuneration, county property. Is there any questions or any required changes? Just a motion to accept as information.
Also move.
Councillor Armstrong has moved. All in favor? Motion is carried. We have a draft meeting of 2020 scheduled calendar dates. It has been circulated. It's got our proposed council meeting dates continuing on Tuesdays. And then previously established dates for ASB, Municipal Planning Commission continuing on the second Tuesdays. I think January maybe.
I'll move that we accept this as circulated, and if something happens down the road, changes can be made with council motion.
Sounds good. Any questions or discussion on Councillor Armstrong's motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Under 2.2, we have the annual ratepayer meeting for 2020. We need to determine a meeting date and a location.
Just for council's information, we did just pull the last 6 meetings, and what has kind of happened historically is that they've gone into each division. So over the last 6 years, they've gone into every division. So this year technically would be Division 6, so the Rockford area.
Okay. And we typically look at a March date. Is that what we've done historically?
Yes, mid-March.
Do we have to determine the date now? As long as it's mid-March, we know it's, at least we got the month down.
Even if we determine the location, then we can determine the availability of any hall or whatever we can at that point.
So Glenn, being your division, do you have a preference? Rocky Ford, Rosebud, somewhere in Division 6?
I think I'd like it in Rocky Ford,
Okay. It's nice and central.
more in the center.
More population there.
Yeah.
All right, well, why don't we just determine that we will host the 2020 AGM in Rocky Ford, Alberta, and direct administration, maybe if somebody wants to make a motion to direct administration to look at dates that the community hall might be available. Councillor Kester has made the motion. Is there any discussion? Maybe if just some dates could be brought back to council for availability, that would be great.
I would prefer the later part of March.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion on Councillor Kester's motion?
Field by March.
Hopefully.
Getting off this year's crop.
Yeah. All in favor? Motion is carried. We need a motion to appoint signing authorities. So I think currently we have, at our last organizational meeting, we determined the Reeve, Deputy Reeve, Councillor Eichert, and the CAO. So I don't know if we want to.
I'll move that the arrangement be the same as last year with Reeve, Deputy Reeve, and the CAO.
And then we also had one counselor. It
And one
was,
counselor closest to the, which would be Tom.
okay. So Reeve, Deputy Reeve, Counselor Eichert, and the CAO. Is your motion?
Just a question for council. If we could also include the manager of financial services in that, just for the time being?
Yeah, and Tom as the closest in case one of the others aren't, so.
Any questions or discussion regarding the motion? So your motion, you're happy including manager of financial services? Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Then we have audit services and update by the interim CAO.
Yes, so our current auditors were unable to fulfill their contract obligations for the 2019 financial year. So we did release a request for proposal, which is due to close this week. So when that RFP closes this week, we'll bring that back to most likely the first meeting in November for council's approval to appoint the auditor.
Excellent. Thank you for the update. So you don't require a motion at this point.
No, not at this point.
Thank you for the update and thank you for your work on that. Council has been circulated both the copy of last year's committee appointments as well as a working copy for our use today in redesignating committee representation. So I think probably our best way to go about this would be just to work our way from the top to the bottom if there's no objection. And we can just see if we're happy with our current representation, if anyone has any changes or how we want it to go. So signing authorities we have established.
Through the chair, just for expediency, is there any burning desire by anybody that wants to get on or off?
Yeah, that's a good
committees,
idea.
and pull them out and the rest could be under one motion.
Just speaking on Agriculture Service Board, we had Calvin Clementson resign his position, so we are looking for one counselor to fill that position, and I believe Donna was interested.
He hadn't been able to
He hasn't been able to
attend
make a
meetings
meeting.
so far, right? Okay.
He works up north, so. He's busier now, that's a good thing, right?
That's a very good thing, yeah.
Yes, and he'll be back though.
Okay, so
Now I feel like an odd man out.
Oh, get used to it, buddy.
My representative.
Madam Chair, if that is the way that council wishes to proceed with that, is there a way that we could get a motion from council, just changing the structure of the board from, I believe it is, 6 members, now it would be 6 members of council and then 3 members at large?
oh, right, because we changed it.
I would entertain a different type motion that all 7 members of council be included if Scott would like to be on. To be the odd man out is, I'm thinking, I don't think there's any problem being
We just have to, we have to change the
changed in
bylaw through
bylaw, right? I don't know, Scott, what's your thoughts?
I'm confident with the member that's representing my area there, but I am the odd person out, and that kind of looks odd, but kind of a hard one.
The bylaw states 9, 7, or 5,
Yeah.
so we'd have to.
And I don't want to make it even, so it's even, that's a problem.
Technically, the member that's in your area isn't really for your area, it's supposed to do, because I got 2 in my area. No, I think if we look back at the bylaw, it was for the county as a whole. We didn't want to pick areas, so I would,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
yeah, they're not really, they were picked because of the Wheatland County and their involvement in Wheatland County, I believe is more of a, but if you want to be on, I'll certainly vote for that.
If we vote for 7, then we have to go with 4 members at large?
No, because we have to change the bylaw, because we can't be over 9 in the bylaw. So we'll
It
just
would
have
be
to.
7 and 2.
We do have 3 members of the public currently sitting, sorry, members at large.
Brittany, Barry, Van Laar, and Rex. So we'd have to ask if we'll just have to change the bylaw is what it comes down to.
An alternate solution as well, if council would consider this, is just have Deputy Reeve Clausen sit as an alternate member on the board. So then the bylaw necessarily wouldn't have to change. However, it is council's wish.
That'd be fine, because if we have people that don't attend, if they gave me some notice, I'd gladly attend, for sure. And then it keeps the board going.
Yeah, and we often do have somebody missing.
Yeah, usually once a
So
meeting.
is it-
Well, we've had one guy missing for the last
Sure.
5 meetings.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Keeps me current on what's going on as well, so I'd be happy with that.
Sounds good.
So from a process perspective, does it work to just do one motion at the end, including any changes to the committee structure?
We can do a lot of motions at the end, or that would make more sense, just to, if there was an amendment to one of the boards, then that would probably
So I'll
work
just
best.
star where we have changes then.
Well, what I was suggesting was if somebody has a burning issue to get on something or get off something, bring that forward now.
Okay.
Pull that out of the group.
Sure.
Pass the rest of them, then deal with that one, 2 or 3 of them. Then you're not dealing with 20 different appointments. You're only dealing with 2 or 3.
Sure. So we'll deal with ASB after, just to confirm any changes to that. Does anybody see any other committees that they would like to sit on or no longer like to sit on?
Just a question, the Red Deer Watershed Alliance, I sat on that for a year now, and I think they've had one meeting.
Yeah, that's.
So I don't know if-
Sounds par for the course.
So I don't know if there's membership involved in that, what the value is to be there? Because the Bow River is a very active group, and it's a very similar issues between the two I see, and so. I don't want to throw them under the bus or anything, but just if it's expensive to be there, it may not be worth it.
I guess ultimately, that is one, I guess for council to decide.
Okay.
We can remain as is, and if there is one meeting, then we just attend if there is no meetings.
There's been no per diem or mileage put towards it this last year for sure. I just didn't know if there was a membership fee.
I'd have to check. I don't believe there is, but I can definitely confirm that and get back to council.
I don't think there was there?
I thought we have 50 cents or something. And it's equal to the Bow River and the Red Deer that used to be, I don't know if it was last year, continued or not. I can't say for sure, but it was the Red Deer River that initially asked for a contribution. And council of the day said, well, we're not paying nothing for the bow to make everybody equal. We did it that way, but you'll have to check.
So maybe if administration could bring that back for council consideration at a future board meeting or future council meeting.
And if WID is thinking about changing and seeing pulling from the Red Deer River, we should maybe keep abreast of what's happening there.
I have noticed a little bit like some increased signage, particularly around,
The
like on
sign
Highway
was up
21, there's a new sign.
Before last year's organizational.
Yeah.
I got one email for some sort of, I think I forwarded it to Brian. It was not a board meeting or anything like that. Outside of that, I've not received anything. And I'm
Very
assuming
little,
Scott didn't
yeah.
get anything either.
Let's bring it back. It's a good question to check the value of it and what the cost is, so we'll bring that back.
Just a question. On the, and I have nothing against the way you're doing it. The waste management, should the alternate not be encouraged to be, because I'm not sure that, I don't want to speak out of
Yeah,
place,
no,
but I'm
they-
thinking that you're going to be stepping down here in 2 years, so.
Yep.
Just getting everybody up to speed, so.
Yep.
Are you succession planning?
I've been to a meeting.
He's been,
No, okay,
I missed one, so he went there in my stead.
I'm just
They
wondering.
like me way better. I'm way better looking.
You are better looking, but.
It's up to council. If council wants them to attend, they're more than we don't have closed meetings. They're more than welcome to attend and sit in the audience as an observer. That's not an issue.
Yeah, I'm just, just thinking succession planning here, so I don't know what's going on. That's not new, though. That's nothing new.
But we might succession plan and we might not get in, right? So really,
Yeah, that's a good point. You never know.
just to keep on schedule here, I can step down from Wheatland Housing if there's somebody else wanting to get onto it.
I wouldn't mind sitting on housing, just to stay more abreast of what's happening. But I'm open to, if there's other council that wants to as well.
Not my wheelhouse.
Come on, you love old people.
Not my wheelhouse.
Too, but not. But they're open too, like I can still go to the meetings. Like,
Absolutely.
and that's what I've been
Yeah.
doing, is the ones that are
Oh, for sure.
important, I just go.
I can gladly stay on as an alternate, or if Donna wants to, it doesn't matter, but I'm sure there's somebody else that can do a better job than I can.
Getting to be my age where I need to.
You're just wanting to reserve a room really bad, you and Steve.
Get in line with the rest of us picking our room.
The average age is 87. It's a long way down the road.
The last bit like that.
It does. Are there any other committees? So we'll just, I'm going to star that and we'll come back as Councillor Armstrong suggested, and we'll just pass motions for committees that we're going to have changes to. Maybe we'll just give a moment if there's any other changes anybody wishes to see.
I have interest in, my wheelhouse is the waste side too, but I don't know whoever's sitting there as alternate. I'd definitely be interested in seeing that through.
You can take my alternate.
Yeah, but
Position.
kind of going with what Tom was saying, I think it's important that somebody start attending and seeing what's going on, so, because I believe Ben has carried a lot of this for a lot of years, and to see it going forward. And again, that can change at election time, but I think that person should be, the alternate should be allowed to go to all the meetings, because I think it's important. There's a lot of dollars in that area. I don't know what you think, Ben.
It doesn't matter to me. The reason
He's just been the garbage man for the last 30
I was
years.
put on there because I was the closest one and it saved on mileage. That was the reason I was, and that's why Ken Larson was on there. And I've been on there for a while now, so I'm used to it. And I sit as the chair, so if there's, I don't care if you guys want to put someone else on there, put someone else on there. It doesn't matter to me.
No, my intention is
It's
not
just-
to take
Just,
yourself
I think, to
off,
start learning.
But I want to see how things have got to where they're at, and then continue on with that.
Well, that's what I said before. Our meetings are open and you're more than welcome to come. It's just a decision of council if they want to pay the 2 per diems or the single per diem. That's the only difference.
I was just thinking along the lines of that the alternate would be whoever it is.
Yeah.
But I do have an interest there. It would be allowed to.
Let's put a star
attend.
on that one.
We'll be allowed to attend with that in mind, that the per diems and all that stuff would be. And if somebody closer wants to do it, that's fine too.
And when we have our organizational here in, I think it's in, down there, because we go through the same thing down there. If I'm no longer the chair, then it makes it easier, because you can alternate then. But when you're sitting as the chair, then so I'm not sure what their intentions are for that.
So that would be Drumheller Solid Waste, the Sewa one, and Alberta Care. Is that fairly hefty too, or?
Alberta Carrot, that's a busy one. Well, it's just the 2 conventions a year. Everything else is basically conference calls. So,
But being with what's been going on in my division, I found I'm learning lots.
yeah.
And especially when it comes to council about what we approve and what is underlying when you approve some of that stuff, what's allowed. I think that's really important moving forward.
I'd like to stay on Sewa.
Okay.
Besides, if I
have
keep
a
giving
problem
up
with
all
that.
my alternates, I'm gonna have no job left.
No, I'm just showing, if interest in it, that's all.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And saying that, the SAWA meeting is here
On the 25th.
On the 20, yeah. So
Of November.
25th at noon, so you're more than welcome to attend that. And it
There's
comes
some
here 2 or 3 times through the year, so that saves on,
Sewa to me isn't as important as the other ones, just so you know.
What?
Sewa to me is not a big issue with
So you're
me.
more interested in Alberta Care?
Yeah. No, that's
Drumheller
fine.
solid
I
waste?
just figured with the chance of,
I understand.
So if you potentially wanted to stay as alternate for SEWA, and if you wanted to go as alternate for Alberta Cares and Drumheller Solid Waste,
Frees you up for some other stuff, Mr. Wilson.
oh, yeah. What are you laughing at, Tom?
Just fencing and that kind of stuff, that's the other stuff.
Yeah, that's the other stuff. 'Cause God knows I ain't doing that.
is there anyone else who has
I'd like
any?
to sit on the library committee.
Really?
No.
I was terrified for a moment.
I nominate Mr. Wilson.
Ben, what time
I
is
thought there was
Sewa
some
meeting?
hope for you.
I was reading all weekend. Found a new love.
You found a new love?
Yeah, libraries.
Excellent books. It's a good thing. Anything else? It's also a good time if there's any committees that we want to, consider our participation in, if we need more information or that kind of thing, like we've requested with the Red Deer River Watershed Alliance.
So this is just a comment. The Wheatland Addictions team,
So I missed our last committee meeting. I had 2 meetings scheduled at exactly the same time. It might have been CMRB. And they did hold a SWAT team, but I haven't had a chance to chat with Lynn about an update. They needed to hold that meeting to finalize some grant documentation that needed to be submitted. What we had decided at the end of last year regarding Strathmore Wheatland Addictions team was to basically streamline it, make it more efficient, so we're not meeting on a regular basis, but where we might meet at the beginning of the year, determine like a large main project to focus on, and then just to meet as needed for that project. Given some of the local, like with the 3 youths that overdosed, I have had a couple of people ask me like what we're doing with that, or if there's more that we can do with that. So that is a conversation that I hope to have with Lynn and just see where our focus is best used. It's challenging because I like that committee to be very evidence-based. And what the evidence says is a lot of the work that you do to prevent addiction and overdoses and things like that is more preventative and like about connection and about attachment and family and stuff like that versus reactive to, addictions. But there is some uncertainty as well with some of I know WFCSS has some uncertainty until the budget is out, and some of the addiction coalitions as well are not sure where things will be with the provincial funding, so.
Madam Chair, as well, just an update on the Environmental Steering Committee. So it's recommendation from administration that we remove that committee. So it's kind of just like an internal working group. There really is no council involvement, and we're thinking about just dissolving that committee itself in 2020.
I was just looking, I'm like,
Yeah, I missed that.
okay. Okay, so we could include that in the motion just to officially dissolve that.
through the chair and comment to what Scott was saying with Alberta Care. Drumheller Solid Waste is also a member of Alberta Care. And if like, it's not a committee at Alberta Care, that's not a committee where that's a board of, there's 6 zones or 5 zones in the province, and they're your director for that zone. So I can check with Linda and find out what the process is to get appointed to that board. Because we just went through that appointment here a couple of months ago. And I was appointed again as for Division 4, but if that changes, if we can change that, then it's just a matter, because like I said, Drumheller Solid Waste is still a member. is a member of it, and I can, if I'm interested in what they're doing at some of their conventions, I can deal with it through Drumheller Solid Waste. So I'll check with Linda, pull that one out, and I can check with Linda and find out what the process is for whether it's just a simple appointment from council or if there's a process that has to be gone through.
Just a way to share that a little bit, and yeah, that's a good idea.
Sure.
Anything else that anybody sees? CMRB, everybody is happy with the committees that they're sitting on?
Oh, so happy.
So happy.
So happy.
Tom, Glenn?
I'm actually gonna I'm gonna actually steal Glenn's idea. I will probably, before every land use committee, will be probably phoning the rurals and finding out if they need me there, and if not, I will not be wasting my or the county's time and money to go there, so.
We have no alternates for those committees, so we just phone one or the other on the group. Because there are times, I'm thinking Friday's one of them coming up, there's a governance meeting, and I might not be there, I might be combining this time of year.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Again, if things go
mind.
really good, I'll be done. But that's what I've done in the past when conflicts and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
That's okay between.
I wouldn't mind sitting as alternate for the committees, just because it does help, like, form my background information for board. Most of the things that go through the committee do come through the board following the committee's work on them. But it does give me a little bit more of the background and the work on it. And then, like, for example, Friday I'm there already, so there's no increased cost to council. Like the last governance meeting, it was just on the same day as the board, and it's just a little bit
Easy though.
longer day. It was easy.
But as a Reeve, you have that already, right? You can attend any? Yes.
Wherever you want.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So there's really no formal backing needed for that.
And I know CMRB, under their procedures, it's just whoever our council does, like whoever you would designate to go in your absence.
Madam Chair, I believe there might be a resolution from prior year allowing you to go to any CMRB
Yeah,
meeting.
I think that's what
Yeah,
Scott
oh,
was
okay.
just saying.
We'll confirm that and then get back to you guys.
And I haven't exercised that. I've been trying to work with administration, like to listen to some of the more important, like particularly servicing is where they've gotten into a lot more background information on water servicing that could potentially apply in the future, but never know. Anything else? Okay, well, perhaps we could entertain some motions to make the amendments that we want to amend, and then we could have a motion to approve the balance of the committees as they were previously approved. So the first one was ASB. So we discussed including Councillor Bigger on the board with Deputy Reeve Klassen as alternate, and then leaving the bylaw as it stands.
Just actually clarification, I think the Central Zone RMA District 2 Representative Reeve, the alternate should be Deputy Reeve. So it would move from
sorry.
Kester to Klassen.
Oh, sure.
He's bouncing around.
So we're gonna, no, we'll go back. This is just another one that we should,
We should change all the deputy, like all the
yeah.
Reeve. and
So
deputy.
Central Zone RMA alternate would move to Clausen. Just below WFCSS, about a quarter of the way down.
Along with Calgary Metropolitan Region Board.
Probably Emergency Management Committee was probably Reeve and Deputy Reeve as well. So that would change.
Under emergency management, do we have to change our bylaw? It says Reeve and one counselor, see bylaw 2013, so does it specify in there if we want it Reeve and Deputy Reeve, do we have to revisit our bylaw?
I think
I think that,
last year it was the same, like it was Reeve and Deputy Reeve last year. It would just be moving.
But I think that was because of the association being in your area.
no, that's the fire board.
Okay.
Yeah, Fire Board is
Okay.
different.
Okay. I stand corrected.
The Emergency Management Committee, it's only like the one meeting a year, and I believe all of council was invited to it anyway,
That
so.
really unhelpful-
Productive meeting last
meeting,
Friday.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
It was efficient. It was efficient.
Is that a 20-minute meeting?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So, and then CMRB would change alternate to Clausen. Okay, and then there are several. We wouldn't need to amend it, but on the IDPs and ICFs, there are some where just like the names might change for contact info where it's Deputy Reeve. Yeah, that's, sure. Well, and I don't, because it's structured as by division, like it's not structured by names, I'm not sure that we even need to amend anything, but we could just approve it unless people see changes. We'll go to that after. So, is there anything I've missed on the committee list that anybody sees that should be amended? Okay, let's start from the top. Ag Service Board. So we would amend it. We would thank Calvin Clemenson for his previous commitment, but remove him from the board. And then Councillor Bigger would be included in ASB with Deputy Reeve Clausen as alternate.
So moved.
Deputy Reeve Clausen has moved. Is there any discussion? Sorry, Margaret. It will be 6 councillors, 3 members of the public, so it will be 9. So it will still fit within the ASB bylaw. It won't require an amendment, and it will still be an odd number for voting purposes, which I think is good. And then we'll just ask the chair of ASB to maybe help facilitate if there is somebody missing to make sure that Deputy Reeve Clausen is aware. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Deputy Reeve Clausen. And then the next 2 under the new structure will be determined by the ASB board. Seed plants will continue as local councillors. We would need a motion to change Wheatland Housing Management Board to include
Link, Bigger, Eichert, Kester.
Link, Kester, Eichert, and Bigger as alternate.
Yeah,
Was that the understanding?
Is this for the housing?
Yes. Would somebody like to make a motion to that effect?
oh, it doesn't matter to me,
No, you said you're just doing a job, so.
but an alternate, I don't think that's a big deal. That's okay, so long as I get to keep handy bus. Wilson is off.
So it would be Link, Eichert, and Kester representing, with Bigger as alternate. If somebody wants to make a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Councillor Wilson has moved. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion, are you voting?
Yeah.
It was your motion, so you're in favor. Approved. WDEMSA will stay the same, WFCSS, unless anybody has any requested changes. Central Zone RMA would be amended as Link is the representative with Deputy Reeve Clausen as alternate, if somebody wants to make a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Deputy Reeve Clausen has moved. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. I have Drumheller Solid Waste starred, but what did we decide? So we currently have Armstrong sitting with Wilson as alternate. I heard some interest from Deputy Reeve Klassen to sit as alternate for this year potentially. Wilson said he was less interested in this than he would like to stay on SEWA.
Okay. Is that all right, Jason?
Yeah.
Nice people too up there.
So Armstrong will stay as the representative with Klassen as the alternate.
Do we have to make a motion that
We can worry
whatever,
about that after.
whatever Scott wants to do,
We can
that
make-
that could be done later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we could make it now while we're dealing with this. Like if we'd like some more,
To you guys.
Why don't we go through and appoint the committees and then
Sure.
say,
okay, I'll do a different star system for that, okay?
we could just say, we could say
You
for
need a
the,
different color pen?
for all our alternates, really, if you want to do it. If you don't, you just don't charge.
That should be a separate motion after we
Yeah.
finish all this other.
Yeah, we'll go through it after. Bow River, we were gonna, yep. Oh, sorry, no, that would be good, wouldn't it? A motion for Drumheller Solid Waste to change the alternate.
I move that Scott take alternate while Armstrong continues to sit on the board committee.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. I didn't hear any changes to Bow River. Red Deer administration's going to bring back more information. I believe we're leaving the rest the same down to,
Tom, did you go to a Bow River one? Meeting?
No?
Okay. Okay. You want to stay on it?
Well, it does give me the option to go if I decide to go. So I'm
Okay.
trying to save the county money.
Just question, MPC, when does the chair, it's at the next meeting, right?
Yeah.
After this? Okay. Because I would like it if somebody else did that. Put that out there.
That's why it says appointed by MPC.
yeah,
Putting a seed out there, let it grow.
we'll do that at the first MPC meeting in November. I heard discussion about Bow River. Are we happy with how it is? We currently have Deputy Reeve Klassen and Councillor Eichert representing with Councillor Wilson as alternate. Keep it. Okay. SEWA,
Keep it the same.
keep it the same.
Anybody else?
Alberta Care, I heard some interest from Deputy Reeve Klassen to be alternate in Wilson's place.
Yeah, and I would suggest that we just pull that out of there for the time being, and I'll check with Linda, and I can come back to the November 1st meeting.
We could always put, if Councillor Wilson was in favor, we could always put Klassen as the alternate, and then if there was a way
No,
to
yeah, that's fine.
increase your role, if you're okay with that, Jason?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Then we could always bring it back if there is a way to change the representation on the board, and we could make you the representative at that time.
Yeah.
Just so this is done for now, and then we can always amend it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Glenn has
So,
a question.
oh, sorry.
From what I'm hearing from Ben, this CARE is a subcommittee of solid waste management. You're appointed to that through solid waste, or how?
No, I was appointed to that actually through this council, but it came through the Ag Service Board because of the ag plastic situation.
Right.
Was how I originally got on there, was because of the issue around ag plastics. But it's a separate board. Drumheller Solid Waste joined as a member after that. Alberta Care was a northern group, and then it moved into the south 7-8 years ago, so it became a northern and southern. So that's why I'm not absolutely sure about how they put the directors in place, but I'll find that out.
Okay.
But my understanding from Councillor Armstrong is he could attend Alberta Care conferences under your Drumheller Waste representation. And then if we put Scott in as a director, if we could get him as a director, then he would also have that opportunity to attend the conferences.
Zone director for that.
Right.
There's one from here, a fellow from, excuse me, from Newell is also the zone 4. Objective, so there's two from
So
each.
Ben's going to bring that back to
I
council
know in
if
the
we can
past,
amend
at the
it.
CARE conferences, there's been motions for all of council to attend when they've been in close traveling distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll just wait for more information.
Yeah, that would be great. We appreciate that. So let's have a motion to put Clausen as alternate to start.
So moved.
Councillor Armstrong has moved. All in favor? Motion is carried. A motion to move the alternate for Calgary Metropolitan Region Board from Kester to Clausen. I just need a motion.
Moved.
Councillor Bigger will move. All in favor? Motion is carried. I believe those are all the ones we needed. Oh, and a motion to remove council involvement in the Environmental Steering Committee, to dissolve that committee.
So moved.
Deputy Reeve Clausen has moved. Any discussion? All in-
Through the
sorry.
chair, does the governance committee, does that have to be changed to the CMRB governance committee?
No, Glenn
Not
has
unless
that.
Glenn wants to, because we have councillor representation on our land use servicing governance advocacy. So it doesn't have to be a particular
Okay,
role.
okay.
Oh, sorry, no, I skipped over that one too. Yep, you bet. You tell me when.
Fire board again.
You have the previous year.
Fire board is Wilson, Link, Kester. Oh, sorry. Yeah, with Armstrong as alternate. So I believe, did you get Councillor Armstrong moved for the Environmental Steering Committee? Did you get Councillor Armstrong moved to dissolve the Environmental Steering Committee? And did we vote on that?
Yes, you did.
Okay, excellent. Emergency Management Committee, a motion to move from Kester to Clausen.
I'll move.
Councillor Eichert has moved. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. I believe that wraps up everything except our IDPs and ICF composition. Oh, yes, and a motion to approve.
So moved. I approve move to approve the committees for 2019, 2020,
So as presented, or as
as discussed.
Margaret will have.
So just a question on the committee boards, on the SDAB, we have one that's, we have a couple that are coming up at the end of this year with what's pending. Hopefully they have a decision before then. Because what happens in that case, I don't know. Like,
Do they have to adjourn? Within a
They
certain
still
timeframe?
require to adjourn from that last hearing. And if their membership expires, I'll have to take a look into that, and then I can get back to council
I
on
just
that.
don't want to see it causing a kerfuffle.
I can definitely look into that.
Thank you. Good eye.
I didn't know Karen was on there.
So we have a draft IDP and ICF representation, composition of those committees. Does anybody have any proposed changes? It's the ICFs and IDPs.
I believe when 2 years ago, when we populated that, it was the Reeve, Deputy Reeve as alternate and local councillor of the area, 2 on the board, and if the alternate was the Deputy Reeve,
For which, sorry, Glenn?
for all the committees, the ICFs and the IDPs, was Reeve, local councillor, Deputy Reeve as the alternate.
That's how I remember it, yeah.
Yeah, and then when it was in the, I don't know what was done for alternates in Reeve or Deputy Reeve's position, right, because then there would be no alternate.
Oh, I see, for your area, is what you're talking. Yeah.
So,
I don't know how it's set up.
Except for Rocky View, like that, it's 3 of us.
Oh, Newell hits 2 of us.
yeah, I don't think Reeve was on all of them because I think Reeve only sat where we only had, like where we didn't have 2 or 3 counselors that were affected by that boundary or border. So like, was just referenced like Knee Hill has 2, like Division 6 and Division 7 border Knee Hill. So then we have those 2 sitting with Reeve as alternate. And then Rocky View, we have 3, 5, and 4 because the area councillors that have their division touching those boundaries.
Go through them all.
Just looking at them, I don't have a issue with any personally.
Personally, I think it's better to have the area councillor whose boundary borders the actual neighboring municipality to sit on that, and then I'm happy to attend as alternate or
That's fine.
just trying to see where we might have issue.
I just went through, I believe it is all okay with the deputy reeve in Division 5. That's like one significant change. I didn't see any areas where that overlapped.
The only comment I have for Rocky View. I'm just wondering if with Division 4 counselor on CMRB so much,
Yes, I agree.
we could move Division 4 and replace, and Division 3 could be alternate.
Not only that, you guys already had a few meetings and I couldn't attend.
So that's the only, out of the whole
Take
sheet,
myself
that's the
off
only
that
one.
actually.
So
Just,
put
you know,
Tom,
Rocky View?
put Division 4 into the Rocky View IDP and make Division 3 alternate.
Right.
Oh, I see, right.
Understand?
That's the only one I have.
Yeah, and the rest we should be okay. Do you see anywhere else where 5 is in the same spot as Deputy Reeve, if I'm reading right over it? Anybody else see any other issues
No,
or things that could work better?
no offense, Donna.
No, that's,
So we'll require a motion to approve the IDP and ICF council representatives with the amendment of Division 4 being one of the main representatives for the Rocky View IDP and ICF, and Division 3 moving to the alternate for that committee. Just need a motion to that effect. Councillor Bigger has moved. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Under 2.4C, we have an RFD regarding appointments to the Economic Development Board. There's a recommendation to approve Betty Jane Jansen and Tracy Cornett for a term of 2 years. Councillor Bigger has moved. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Under 2.4D, there's an RFD regarding appointments to the Community Enhancement Regional Board. There's a number of names laid out with terms there. Page 31 of our package.
I'll move the recommendation.
Just for council's, just to note, we still don't have a Division 7 representative, but we are actively looking.
So 2, if the area councillor wants to maybe rustle the bushes for a curb member.
Yeah, I can, I guess.
Awesome.
See if I can find somebody.
Perfect.
move
I'll
the
throw it out
recommendation.
there too, just to see who we can find. Counselor Wilson will move the recommended action on page 31. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
What qualifications are you looking for?
Someone note for the best interest for Division 7.
Good answer. Motion was approved. We have 3 conferences and conventions for consideration of council: RMA Spring Convention, RMA Fall Convention, and FCM.
I'd like to attend both RMAs.
So I think typically we just do a motion to approve council's attendance.
Changed, didn't it, this last little while?
Yeah, I've noticed a change
Yeah,
of heart
exactly,
too.
because I remember, I'm old and but I remember that the spring one, nothing much got done, I think was your quote. I could be wrong.
We might change that, Tom. We might change that.
Good.
A motion to approve council attendance at the RMA conventions, we could start there.
All of council at FCM?
I just said RMA first, and then we could address FCM
Sorry.
separately.
Missed that one.
RMA spring and fall, unless there's. Sorry, Glenn, you said you're moving that?
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Kester is moving all of council attendance at spring and fall RMA conventions in 2020. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Voted.
Oh,
I voted.
sorry.
God,
That
I
includes
voted for 5
spouses,
minutes.
Glenn?
Oh, yeah, with
Does that include
spouses.
spouses?
I think it typically
Yeah.
has. Right,
Part
as
of the
per policy.
Yeah.
I gotta get a spouse here real soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
I have to get one who
Does
likes
mom
basket weaving.
count? Does mom count?
We've already said bring her, it would be fun. Bring your grandma, that would
Is
be fun.
mom in the policy?
Companion,
Because she really wants to come.
All in favor? Again, because I didn't see you vote. Motion carried. FCM, traditionally, we have done 3 councillors to each FCM on a rotating basis.
If that's the case, someone's been left out.
It's me.
Scott has been.
If
God is
my family does
unavailable.
not do 4-H, I would love to go.
He has 4-H on parade typically on those dates.
So that's all I can say.
I'm not going. So.
And I'm all,
I can say I've
I'm
gone
not,
once.
I'm not due.
I will
but
make it a
don't- we
goal
can-
for
we can
this
just
year
put
to
this
try to
down
get
that
there.
Tom does not need ever to go again.
Ditto.
So hash it out, people.
well, I'll move that it remain the same as the eligible for 3 to go, and if they don't 3 go, then that's fine, but at least it's the opportunities there. You may
We just-
change your mind.
I don't.
Need a
But you're
motion
right.
to that
You are
effect.
right.
So moved.
It's in Toronto. Yeah, even if I.
Deputy Reeve
Not this
Clausen has moved approval for 3 councillors to attend FCM in 2020. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Under 2.6, we had councillor orientation binder.
I'm going to put a motion on the floor with that, when you were discussing before about what we do with alternates, and then we can discuss it, but I'd put a motion on the floor to allow alternate to attend no more than half of the normal meetings in the year.
For compensation.
For, yeah, that,
We'll
as long
only
as,
be
the-
compensated for half of them.
yeah, once they're allowed to attend, then that compensation follows that, so. With solid waste, that's 3 meetings, because we only have 6 a year, and with the rest, it would be a maximum of 6. If they don't, fine, they don't go, but if they want to attend, then they'll at least be, they can go to.
Then we don't need to bring everything back constantly.
They don't have to keep coming back to council for it, it just happens, so. If council wants to pay that higher per diem, that's fine. If they attend it all, that'd be 6 meetings a year for most of them, or for the major ones. The other ones, it wouldn't be a heck of a lot of anything.
So 6, or half of whatever is for the,
For all committee?
For all of them, so if there's 1 meeting a year, too bad.
There's a motion on the floor. Discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you for dealing with that. Do we need a motion for the council orientation binder, or it was just some updated?
I just need them all back to me.
Okay.
Have it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Councillor Wilson has moved. All in favor? Motion is carried.
Okay, so I have something to show everybody, so don't all leave the room, I just have to get it.
Oh, God.
So does anyone want